What's up, everybody? As of recording time of this video, we are now about 22 hours away from the release of Warzone 2 with Battle Royale and DMZ. And I'm going to quickly run through the 5 loadouts I'll probably be trying to run tomorrow on drop, which if you want to watch me try out these loadouts, you want to watch me play Warzone 2, whether it's BR or DMZ, my Twitch is linked down below. I will be live just before and for a long time after the Warzone 2 drop tomorrow. So come check me out, say what's up. But let's go ahead and jump into these loadouts. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start with Solos loadout. We don't have a ranking like I normally do because I have no idea where to rank these. But starting out with the Solos loadout is going to be the Castoff 762, the Fennec, and then Lethal Tactical. Perks are all up to you. The perks I'm going to try out first are going to be double time, Overkill, Fast Hands, and Ghost. For solos, maybe High Alert. We'll have to see. I really wanted to put the Castoff, really wanted to put the Castoff 762 as just a general good loadout, but it only has a 40-round mag. Maybe that's not a problem. This thing feels incredibly like the AMX, despite looking like the AK, but it only has 40 rounds, so it's going to get relegated to solos more than likely. So we're going to start with suppressors. There's a million suppressors, and when you look through all of them, not many offer both bullet velocity, damage range, and any kind of recoil help at all, but the ZLR Talon 5 does. You'll notice there's a lot of these wrap suppressors, what we end up with. And then the other option was possibly the Polefire S, but the Polefire S, when you just look at the bars, I wish we just had numbers, offers a little less recoil control, a little less accuracy, and so I end up going with the ZR Talon. And then from there, we look at barrels. You can look at all the barrels, but only one of them gives you damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, and that's the CAS 10 584mm barrel. The CAS 7 gives you the recoil control and the bullet velocity, but not the range. No range on the IGK 30. The Castovia 343 doesn't give you anything we're looking for, and neither does the 342mm Seiken. Underbarrel is another category that is way too overpopulated, as you can see. So your guess is as good as mine. In multiplayer, at least, the Pineapple felt really, really good for helping with recoil. It helps with recoil steadiness. And then, of course, you can tune a lot of these attachments. I'm not going to get into tuning today. But everything else is usually, it seems like it's just recoil steadiness, and the Pineapple felt really good in multiplayer. The VOK 4 times, you can use whatever optic you want, but the VOK 3 times was the 2019 optic meta, or meta optic. And the VOK 4 times, it looks the exact same, you just can't change to a T-post, but that's going to be the optic that I'll be using on ARs, LMGs going forward. And then, of course, the 40-round mag. If this was Vanguard, we would have thrown the laser on that helps your ADS faster, or the rear grip, or any of that stuff, of course, we would throw on. Then we have the Fennec, which, just like in Modern Warfare 2019, falls victim to just not enough ammo. Once again, the largest mag is 45 rounds, so it's going to get relegated to solos, although it could work in duos, trios, quads. We did see people use the Fennec and make it work in those modes. And so first we're going to start off with the Forge Tac Ninja barrel. That takes care of our suppressor and our barrel. So you get sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, everything you could ask for. It kind of sucks to lose aim down sight speed and movement speed, but we can make up for that in other areas. That's going to lead us to the laser. VOK LZR 7 MW is going to be the laser that I chose because it looks like the TAC laser gives you ADS, aiming stability, and sprint to fire. And the only other option really is the AccuShot 5mm, but it doesn't give you the sprint to fire speed, which we want. Then Underbarrel, once again, is a shot in the dark. Merc foregrip was the meta in 2019, so I'm sticking with it because it gives you recoil control and hipfire accuracy, which is important in an SMG, as well as recoil steadiness. There's a bunch of different options to try out. A lot of them give you hipfire accuracy. The FTAC Tiger Grip is also an interesting one. The Merc gives you a little more benefit, so I just stuck with the Merc for now. Obviously, this could all change depending on how things feel once we actually get into the game. And the tuning could obviously be a little bit different than it is in Modern Warfare, as well as being able to actually tune attachments. Then we have the Fennec 45-round mag. The other option is the double tap mod, and you only get 12 rounds, and then it's double tap, and that's no good. And then we go with the Fennec rubber grip. For solos, you really could drop this mag. It's going to be 30 rounds, and then you could go with, like, one of these stocks Recoil control if you struggle with that. Aim down sight speed and sprint speed with the F-tac Loctite. You go with the F-tac stock cap and get the ADS sprint to fire movement speed. Sorry, it kicks you out of private games. Quick create one here. Just pick random stuff. And so that's what we end up with the Fennec. This is the Fennec loadout I'm trying. Like I said, you could drop the mag since you'd be playing solos, and you could go to like the F-tac stock cap, which is where I'd probably go, or the Loctite stock. I'm not going to go for optic ammunition, because the ammunitions on these guns are like frangible, hollow point, armor piercing. They just don't really seem worth it to me. Alright, and then I have stims because for solos, otherwise go stuns, flash, but stim will give you a little bit of health. You could also go heartbeat, snapshot. It's kind of really up to you. I feel like drill charge is necessary for solos because people are going to camp more in solos than any other mode. So as long as you have the drill charge in Warzone, I'd probably go with the drill charge. Otherwise, it's really your choice of Semtex, Claymore. Maybe C4s will be overpowered again. Thermite, throwing knife. I don't know why I forgot throwing knife. I'm going to change these loadouts as I go through them. AR now. So this is a big change. The SCAR was always time to kill viable in Warzone 1 with Modern Warfare 2019. But its big issue, sorry, I'm still getting used to that. The big issue was the magazine size. It was limited to 40, I think it was. It might have got bumped up to 45, but it was limited to 40 or 45, which just really isn't enough for trios or quads. And this gun feels really, really good in Modern Warfare 2. And so it's what I'm thinking is going to be the best AR to use outside of solos, which of course you can make the cast-off 7.62 work within trios quads. You just are going to have less ammo. So once again, we end up with the suppressor. That is the wrap suppressor for this gun, and that's going to be the Harbinger D20. Once again, it gives you that sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness. From there, we're going with the Tundra barrel. Just like Modern Warfare 2019, we're going with the longest barrel. Gives you damage range, bullet velocity, and it doesn't hurt your recoil control. You just don't have a barrel that helps your recoil control. From there, once again, we'll go with the Pineapple. It just feels the best, and you can tune it. I'm not going to tune this stuff, but it's for ADS or hip fire accuracy. I would zoom that all the way to ADS. And then hip walking speed. I would put that all the way to hip walking speed. And then we're going to go with the 60 round mag. That was the big issue, of course. If you want to run this in solos, you can go 40, or you could just drop down to its normal 30. And if you drop down the normal 30, I'd probably go to the laser and go with the TAC laser equivalent there. But that's how I would run the SCAR, or now it's going to be the TAQ or TAC 56, whatever you want to call it. And then we go back to our old reliable, which is essentially the MP5, but it's the Lachman sub. I went no barrel, which was a loadout people did for a while because there's no monolithic integral or suppressor barrel, and just with other attachments, I chose to just ignore the barrel like we did with the Cold War MP5. And I went with the Singard MKV here. It gives you bullet velocity, damage range, recoil smoothness. So it gives you all the benefits of suppressor, and when we use a barrel, we're looking for more damage range, bullet velocity, which we get out of this suppressor. Then Merc foregrip for the same reasons I did on the Fennec. 50 round drums, the biggest mag. Then the VLK ZLR 7 MW again because it's the most equivalent of the TAC laser. If you want to hip fire like we did in the previous game, go with the Hip Shot L20 for the best hip fire, recoil control, and accuracy. And then I went with the stockless mod or the no stock. If I didn't do that, I probably would have gone for either the Lachman TCG 10 grip, or I would have gone back to the stocks and probably gone for the F-tac mobile stock. Even though it hurts aim, walking speed, sprint speed, I don't know how it's a mobile stock. But this is the loadout that I'm going to try out on the Lachman sub, aka our beloved MP5. So then from that, we have Snapshot Grenade and Throwing Knife. Once again, perks, lethal, tactical, all up to you. I have the same perk package as I had on solos. Then we're getting into our LMG loadout, which a lot of people have said that they think that the Royale is going to be the meta. I tend to possibly agree because the headshot multiplier is ridiculous. It's like Whitley levels in Warzone 1 of ridiculous. And if that headshot multiplier transfers over to Warzone 2, this thing's going to be deadly at range. And then once again, we have our wrapped suppressor. And on this one, it's the Talon 16. We have it for the same reasons: the bullet velocity, the recoil control. It does hurt damage range, but the LMG I'm not as worried about. But also the Bruin Agent 90 is a good option. So either one of these two are probably going to be your options. I might actually change that to the Bruin. And then once again, longest barrel. It's going to help with damage range, bullet velocity, which is part of the reason why I'm not as worried about the wrap suppressor. The wrap suppressor does give you, it helps with more accuracy. But either one of those two is where you're going to want to go with that. And then we're not going to do a magazine on this one because it's got 75 rounds already. So you can ignore that. Then for the under barrel, which it's really side barrel, we have the SA side grip. It helps with recoil steadiness, stabilization, and the other ones help with one or the other of those two, but not both. And then I always ignore bipods. And then we go with the FSS OLEV laser, which is going to be your TAC laser equivalent in this game. It gives you ADS speed, aiming stability, sprint to fire speed. So we're going to go with that because we have a big LMG. And then, of course, the VLK 4x optic. What can you even tune on that? Close and far, eye position, aim down sight speed, flinch resistance. The tuning's going to get really interesting. I'll get more into that as I get comfortable with the game. But if you wanted to drop that TAC laser, you can also go with like the Bruin Q900 grip wrap for sprint to fire and aim down sight speed, but it hurts recoil control, so I wouldn't recommend that. You could also try the STIP 40 grip for recoil control, or you can look into the stocks and recoil control from the Demo H40. But I would stick with the laser overall because I don't like the negatives on the other one. And you could go to a magazine, you could go 100, you could go down 50, help your ADS speed. But I'm just going to stick with 75. I'm not trying to be super quick if I'm using an LMG. With that, I paired it with the FSS Hurricane, or if you're a Vault owner, like I wasted my money, the Cinder Hurricane. And this one's interesting. The recoil is kind of odd on it, but it's got really good damage range, and it's definitely usable. With an LMG, I just want to have a little more damage range for when I get caught out in the open, because it's going to be slower to switch to my AR than an AR. It's going to be slower to ADS, all that, blah, blah, blah. So then barrel, you really have two barrels. Both help with damage range, bullet velocity. And you do get, I think you get slightly more range with the FSS Cannonade 16-inch. But with the FSS X7, you get sound suppression and you still get bullet velocity and damage range. And so that eliminates the need to put a muzzle on there. I'm always going to go with the integrated barrels. So once again, I have the Merc 4 grip. I have the TAC laser. If you note, you can't put a magazine on, but you do get 50 rounds, which 50 to 60 tends to be like the sweet spot for having enough ammo. And so that kind of leaves you open for other attachments. You could switch to an optic. If you really like the ammunition mods, you could. But with not having a magazine or a muzzle, you get a lot more freedom on the FSS Hurricane. And so I went with the Fade Pro stock to help with the recoil control because the recoil is a little bit weird. And it hurts ADS speed, but it is an SMG, so we're not as worried about that. But I did kind of fix that some with the sprint to fire and ADS bonuses from the Phantom Grip, which does hurt recoil control a little bit, but it shouldn't be too bad. Especially being an SMG, you're mostly going to be using it close range. And then perks, lethal, tactical, all up to you, and I have the same as I've had on all my classes. So now we're getting into light sniper. Before I get into this, I don't know what optic is going to end up being the best optic overall, and we saw under Infinity Ward, light snipers, aka the CAR, the Swiss, the SPR, the marksman rifles, and the Cold War light snipers, and even the Vanguard ones, one-shot headshot at all ranges. Well, Infinity Ward, this is their product again, and Raven is taking over, but I'm not trusting them to keep the sniper changes, and so I'm expecting the SPR to be very, very good. Like, it's going to be this game's CAR until we probably inevitably get the CAR eventually. And so we kind of build it out like the CAR. You obviously have to put an optic on it because it's going to be iron sights. And the optic, I'm just guessing here. It's a 6x magnification, which the sniper scope in Modern Warfare 2019 was either 6 or 7. And so it's the 6. It's got a very small glint. There's a lot of options. You could go all the way down to the VOK 4x. There's a ton of options that have more magnification, have thermal, but I'm not a thermal guy. I don't want the hybrids. And so then you get into snipers, you get 7.5. That might be what you want. It might be too much. You get to the 8, that's too much. Then you have variables. I don't like variable scopes. They hurt your ADS even more. Then you're back into more thermals. And so I just went with the SZ Bullseye Optic. It's a 6x. I actually don't know what the reticle actually looks like. Which, you know, that could end up being a problem as well. But at the muzzle, we're going to go with the Polfire S. There is the TR Talon 5, but it's going to hurt your aim down sight speed a little bit more. And And we're not worried about the extra damage range because if it one-shot headshots, it one-shot headshots, and that's kind of what we're counting on here. And it doesn't hurt your aim walking speed, but the stats are otherwise very similar, and I'm just going with the less negatives, especially because this needs to be a little bit quicker. And then once again, we're going with the longest barrel, helps damage range, bullet velocity, all that. You could also consider the 22.5-inch barrel, but it doesn't help with the movement speed, which if we're using a quicker sniper, that's what we want. And the 23.5-inch hurts recoil control, which who cares? It's a sniper. I'm not worried about recoil control, and so we end up with the 23.5-inch, but either one of these barrels will probably end up working well. And then we went the equivalent of the tac laser again, aiming stability, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed. It's what we ran on the car. And then here, instead of a comb, I go with the stock. Now, I'm going with the stock here because it helps with aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed. But there's a couple other options I considered here. We're not going to go magazine because it's only 10 or 15. We have 5. We don't need to hurt our ADS to get 5 more bullets when we're sniping because if you hit your shots, it doesn't matter. And so I thought about comb. We have the aim assist comb here that helps with sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. And it actually hurts from where we're at now, so I didn't really like that. You could also with the Cronin stock, and that's going to help with your flinch resistance, which might be important. And then I thought about bolt, going the FSS ST87 bolt for the faster rechambering speed, so I increased my rate of fire. And so really, either go with this stock, one of those 2 combs, or the faster bolt, but I chose to stick with the stock. Now, pairing that, I have the, I'm still getting used to this UI. I have the mini Bach, or the, whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it the PP Bison, whatever, that's what it really is. And then I have the Singard MKV stock, suppressor on here like I did on the Lockman sub, because it helps with bullet velocity, damage range, recoil smoothness, and you get the sound suppression. There's a couple other options to mess around with that give you recoil control and bullet velocity, but they might not give you damage range. So I stuck with the Singard MK5 or MKV. Then barrel, because this is sniper sport, I thought about doing no barrel, but because this is a sniper sport, I wanted the damage range and I wanted the bullet velocity. And so I lose a little hip recoil control, but so what? And I lose a little ADS, but so what? It's an SMG. And I have the Bach 9 279mm barrel. These attachments are mouthfuls, by the way. And it's kicking me out again. And we go right back into a private match. If nobody joins your private match and you don't get it started, it just kicks you out. It's not a big deal. It's an annoying bug, but it's not a big deal. And then so from there we go with the tac laser again. Under the magazine, the only thing is the grip mag, which helps with idle stability and recoil stabilization, but it's an SMG. I'm not really worried about that, and you don't get any extra ammo, so I don't end up going with that. I don't know why that just kicked me out. This game is so buggy. And so you have no magazine attachment. You have 64 rounds, so just like when you use the Bison and the Bullfrog, that opens you up to another attachment. And so we go, I have a rear grip. I went to sprint fire speed, ADS speed to help balance out the barrel and the suppressor. Or, sorry, balance out the suppressor, right? Because the barrel and the barrel. And then I went to stock. I went with the recoil control. We have some balance on the ADS speed between the tac laser and the grip. And so I wanted to help with that recoil control just because it's sniper support. But if I was using this purely as an SMG, I'd probably go stockless here. And the other option was to drop the stock or the grip and go with an optic, since it is going to be a sniper support build and you're going to have to shoot a little more at range. And then perks, lethal, tactical are all up to you. And then finally, heavy sniper. For this, we're going to throw on the MCPR 300, which is essentially going to be this game's HDR. And I'm not a big heavy sniper guy, but, you know, from all the words we've heard from people that have played this game early, it's going to be a sniper meta. ARs and LMGs are a little tougher to use, and so it is important to put the big boy heavy sniper on here. Now, of course, I'm thinking most, if not all, heavy snipers are going to be one-shot headshots, because I think all of them are going to be, including the SPR and the Lab 30 or whatever it is. And so really, I think all snipers are possible, or all viable. And once again, we're kind of in the, what do you want, the Talon 16 or the Bruin Agent 90, kind of like on the Royale. Well, I definitely don't think you need damage range, because I think it's going to headshot. I think this is definitely going to one-shot headshot at all ranges. And so I'm going with the Talon 16. It hurts your damage range, but like I said, who cares? If you hit your headshots with a sniper, with this sniper, it should not matter. But Bruin Agent 90, Talon 16. It's just my best guess. Mostly for the sound suppression, and they help your damage range if you use the Bruin 90, and your bullet velocity the most. But we're not really worried about recoil control and all that. Barrel, once again, longest barrel. I considered using the silent fire barrel, but that hurts damage range. That's also an option, but you don't really need the attachment space. So I went with the longest barrel. Give you the best bullet velocity like always. No optic on this sniper. Just going to run it the way it is, like we do with the HDR. And then, obviously, the tac laser equivalent. I have the grip, and then I have the faster rechambering bolt. Probably going to be a little farther away. Probably easier for guys to get into cover. Shoot a little faster. This grip helps with flinch resistance. There's not a whole lot of attachments I want on here. I'm not worried about sprint to fire speed, aim down sight speed on my big heavy boy. Part of the reason you go tac lasers, you get the aiming stability, and then it also helps the other stuff. But just some changes you could make. You could go do the 5-round mag if you want this to be a little faster to ADS, a little faster to reload. You could drop one of the attachments, like you could drop the Talon 16, go with the silent fire barrel, go to the 5-round mag. You could say, I don't care about rechambering speed. It's a heavy sniper. I'm doing it from far away. You could drop that and go with the 5-round mag. You could drop one of these and go with the stock where you get aiming stability with the Cronin Lion stock. That's not a bad option. But really, I think this is going to be the best overall build for it. It just seems traditional Warzone build. And then finally, for my AR sniper support for the heavy sniper, we have the STB556 or the AUG. It looks like an FFAR and AUG had a baby. And so for this one, there happens to actually be a silenced barrel, and so that's what I went with. It's sniper support. It helps with recoil control, sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, especially as a sniper support where I don't have to use it at all ranges. I'm not concerned if a barrel gives us better damage range and bullet velocity because I want to free up that extra attachment. If I was going to use this as an AR and I wasn't going to use that barrel, probably the FTAC FB20 because that also helps with range, velocity, recoil control. I don't think any of the other ones, well, so does the 24.4-inch Bruin S60. There's just so much to actually check out. So it'd probably be the 24.4-inch if the Bruin Tarako wasn't silenced already. And then from that, on this, the VLK's LZR 7mm is going to be the tac laser equivalent here. I wish they would simplify these attachments. We're going with the pineapple again just because it feels best to me. 42-round mag because it is the biggest. It's a little bit small, but if we're running a heavy sniper, there's not going to be a whole lot of situations where we're pushing and we need a lot of ammo. We're probably going to be playing smart and slow. And so if you want to use this gun, you have to use the mag. 42 bullets is my only worry about this. And so, but that's the only must attachment. Everything else is kind of up to you. I chose to go with this comb because it helps sprint to fire speed, ADS speed, and we need that. It's part of the reason why we have the tac laser on. And you get that out of the Bruin Q900 grip, but that hurts your recoil control, whereas you go to the stock and it doesn't hurt your recoil control. You just get the sprint to fire and ADS benefits. And then the other option, stock, you could get the recoil control, but it's going to hurt your ADS and sprint to fire speed. And this is what I just thought was going to be the best sniper support AR. And then perks, lethal, tactical are up to you. One note is, if you don't want to run overkill, change that. You can go to buy stations. You can buy your custom weapons in the buy station, and that's really the only thing I would change from these loadouts. But those are my 5 loadouts I'm probably going to be running tomorrow. Once again, if you want to see me run those loadouts, you want to see how they look, you want to see what Warzone 2 looks like before you can jump in, my Twitch is going to be linked down below, so come check me out while I'm playing. Like I said, I should be live before or right as the game is dropping, either DMZ or Battle Royale right off the rip. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for more so you'll know when I put out my solid loadout videos, other Warzone 2 and DMC videos, as well as updates, new information, all of that. I'll try to remember to link all of my previous Warzone 2 videos down below. If you want to check those out, prepare yourself for going into Warzone 2 tomorrow. Or if you just want more information and you're watching this after it dropped. And let me know down below what you think of my loadouts. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I smart? Am I dumb? But like I said, thank you so much for watching. I'll have my Twitch link down below, my Instagram, my TikTok. I use all 3 of those almost every day. So please check me out on all those. And Twitter's also linked down below. Less gaming heavy, but feel free to check all of those out. I will see you on Mazrah. Get frying. Have a good day. Bye.